Hi everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome to my art journaling channel. Today we are playing with the Dina Wakley February 2021 new release, and this is the second part of the tab bound books that I started in part 1. So if you want to see how I put the book together, go to part 1. If you want to see how I decorate it, stick around here. So I'm starting off, and you can see to the side that I have got a whole heap of what I call collage fodder. And basically what I've done is gone through and I've used some alphabet stamps to stamp out some words onto tissue paper. I've stamped them out onto this collage collective. I've stamped out some stamps and cut them out as well. The reason I do that is it's something I can do at my own time. Particularly at the moment, you'll see I've got a cast on, so I'm doing everything left-handed, which is a bit unusual for me because I'm usually right-handed, so everything's taking a little bit more time than it usually does. So having stuff pre-cut out is just really handy, and it's something that you can do in your own time. So for this book, what I've done is on every second page I put the words "you are," and now I'm using the new masks of the profiles of people, the little silhouette profiles, to use my collage and do a reductive painting. And I'm using some night to contrast, and I'm really glad that I used night. I was originally going to use some black gesso, but the night just works in so beautifully with the colours I've got on the page. So the original colours in the collage I used were cheddar, fuchsia and ocean, my three favourite colours, and together with the night to do the profile. So with the collage collective letters that I've just glued down for strong, I have used some paint to stamp those, and I will have a video up of how I create my collar, or how I created the collage photo that you can see sitting there, coming up on my channel very soon as well, so you can go and have a check out how to make your own. Using collage collective is awesome for stamping letters or things like that over the top of there, because you've got these beautiful images on it that you can or colors that you can use in different ways. And I find it a great way for pages that really don't resonate with me, that I'm not 100% sure about, that I can stamp over the top of them, cut them out, and I really like them in the end. So I am using some gel medium to glue down my letters on the page. I am going over both pages to, putting gel medium across both pages to make sure it's all glued down. So this is the final page of the book. So I've got, you are strong, you are bold, you are beautiful, no, you are joyful, you are loved. And once I had finished that, I thought, I really like this, but I need to add more to it. So again, I could have just stamped straight into my book. The reason that I chose to do this was, again, because I'm hampered somewhat with my wrist. I couldn't stamp out very well, and unfortunately I lent my really great archival ink pad to my mum to do something, so I didn't have a really brilliant black ink pad, which is why my other bits and pieces are a little bit duller than usual. The really black pieces you can see me gluing down are actually black paint that I've stamped with. If you're going to do that, your stamps work fine with paint, but wash them off straight away afterwards. You don't want to have the acrylic paint sitting onto your stamps for too long. So I would usually just stamp straight into my booklet, but by adding the collage fodder in here, I'm getting some different colors on the page. I'm getting some different textures, sorry, had a little bit of blank there, on my page as well. I really like these little leaf shapes. I liked that I could put them together to make them look like little hearts, which sort of echoed the "you are loved" on this page. The other thing that I'm doing is I'm not being precious about my shapes. I'm cutting bits off them and using all the offcuts on my pages as well. So, you know, nothing goes to waste. You can put the tiny little scraps on your page, fit them in here and there, wherever you think they go. The great thing about the gel medium as well as you're gluing down is that you've got a little bit of movement with it. So if you really don't like where it is, you can move it somewhere you prefer. I originally wasn't going to do too much on these pages because I really liked them how they were, but once I started, I couldn't stop. I had all this stuff here, and I'm a terror for, if I've got it, use it. So whether that goes to extra paint on my page or extra images I've stamped out, it's like we've gone to the effort to you know, cut them out. Why not just use it? So that's what I'm doing. So as you go through, just keep flipping backwards and forwards and seeing where you like things, where you want to add more to. It is usually a good idea to dry your page off as you go through. I ended up, I think it was on this page. Yeah. I put some gel medium down and then flipped my page, and when I went back it had dried and tore the page a little bit, but that's okay. That's what happens in the long run. So now I've finished gluing all my bits and pieces down. It still needed something, particularly these pages. The color of the sort of the grey of the words I was a bit disappointed with, so I might go back and restamp over the top of those. Now I've got my amazing ink pad to make them look a little bit better. But what I did want to do is add some mark making on my page. And this is something I do to a lot of my images, is either doodle over the top or add some really simple marks to my page. Now, when I talk about being really loose and really, you know, carefree with this, I'm doing this with my non-dominant hand, so you can imagine how straight those lines are. You can imagine how scribbly and sketchy it is, you know, so you can do this. And as for mark making, my mark making is using the point of my pen and just sort of scattering it across the page. But you can see how much more interesting it makes that page look, having, you know, just that extra little bit to tie it together, to make it flow across the page. And it's not that difficult. And you can't, you know, adding black and white to a page, particularly adding white to a page, you're not really going to make much of an effort, a mistake with it. Black sometimes can look a little bit heavy-handed, but, you know, that's how we learn. So on all my letters, you'll notice I am putting some shadowing or highlighting, I suppose, because it's in white, on each of my letters on the bottom left hand corner, and I find that again helps pop the letters out from the background a little bit. To help me with this page, you know, I'm doing the same thing on each page, so again I don't have to think about what I'm doing too much. Once you've done one page, it's like, well, I've got the rhythm for this now. I can do this on each of the page. It means there's consistency to each page in your book, but you know, each page is obviously going to look different because you've got different abstracts in the background, even though you're using the same images. So that's something that Dina talks a lot about in her tutorials and in her free demos that she's got on her website, is repeat. So repeat your images, repeat the colors, repeat stenciling patterns on it. So it all ties together and belongs together. And it makes it easier for you in the long run as well. So just getting to the end of this little booklet. And at this sort of stage, I was starting to think about what I wanted to do on the front cover, because I had those, the page from the Collage Collective on my front cover. While I really liked that image, it's one of my favourite images from the Collage Collective, it was a little bit dark. When you look at how bright the inside of this book was, it didn't really represent what was in this book too much. So while I'm doing, I say this is sort of mindless work, it's not, I'm still thinking about what I'm doing, but because I've done it so many times on all the other pages, it frees up my brain to sort of start problem solving and thinking about other things, usually. The fact that I'm working with my left hand, I do have to concentrate a little bit more than I have to when I'm doing it with my right hand, but you know, that's how things go. So once I've finished doing the inside of the book, it's a good opportunity to just clean up my area and give myself a bit of a chance to think about what I wanted to do. I had the little bit of canvas tape left over from how I bound my book together, and I really liked that. I really liked the mark making. I liked the bright colors on it, so I decided I needed just to add some more of those colors to the front page. I'm just using my finger. I'm using the same colors except for the magenta there. I didn't use that in the inside, and just scribbling it around with my fingers and then scribbling into it with a Stabilo or pencil. And what I decided I'd do was a little bit more mark making and then put a silhouette on like I did in the internal pages. Because I had some of the different colours on it, I didn't have any of the cheddar. I wanted to sort of have some of the cheddar there too. So I'm just going in again with my night paint. I'm tapping it off, so I'm sort of getting that rough edge, and you can see that collar or that abstract that I've painted underneath, trapped under the silhouette. So I'm forgetting my words. So this little phrase, "You are the universe," is again from one of the new stamp sets, and I'm just stamping it out on some white paper. It happens to be the Collage Collective, and I thought it'd be perfect for the front page. So just adding on some gel medium and then arranging my words. So this is the final booklet. I'm really pleased with how this came up and how different it was from the original. So if you look back at part 1, I really liked that book, but it was very plain and it was a little bit messy and didn't really have any cohesion. But now that I've sort of used the same patterns, the same stamped images, the same mark making in each of the pages, it starts to flow together. And you can see from these close-ups, you know, how not perfect my line work is really scratchy, but sometimes that works well. It gives you that sort of really arty edge to it. So if you're keen, you can try making a book with your non-dominant hand. I probably recommend doing it with your dominant hand. That would be helpful. You will find all the links below to the products I've used in this, and a link to Dina's tutorial on how to make a tab book, and to part 1 of this video as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Until next time, bye for now.